You're listening to the We Are Libertarians Network. Learn more at wearelibertarians.com. We are supported by listeners like you. Donate per month or make a one-time donation through PayPal or Patreon at wearelibertarians.com. Welcome to Creating Miah. I'm your host, Chris Spangle. This is a podcast about Miah Axton's transition. We go deep into the journey of her transition, and this is a podcast brought to you by the We Are Libertarians Network. Please be sure to rate and review us on iTunes, like us on Facebook at We Are Libertarians, and share this episode with friends. The Creating Miah podcast, I think, has helped a lot of people understand the deeper issues of transitioning, and support us through PayPal or Patreon at wearelibertarians.com. We Are Libertarians, our network is supported. All this fancy new equipment is supported by listeners like you. And we're normally taking your questions at editor at We Are Libertarians, but this may be the last Creating Miah for a while. As you know, we've taken a couple different breaks, and then we've checked in with Miah periodically. But this one may be the last one for a little bit. Don't unsubscribe, though, because you never know when, Miah always says, I don't want to do this anymore. And then, like, 6 months later, I got to get some of that podcast, man. I got to hook me up with some of that podcast. So yeah, Miah is here. We are back. This podcast has really, if it's the last one for now or for a while, I don't know about the response that you get, Miah, but I get all the time people, as trans issues have become closer to the forefront of people's minds. Back when we started this podcast, nobody knew what a cis was.
No.
Nobody really knew what the deep inner workings of trans
when we
stuff.
looked up what other trans podcasts there were was one.
Right.
And it was seldomly updated, and it had been going on for a while. It was just two people hanging out, making jokes. They weren't really talking about anything anymore. It was just a hangout sesh.
And this has kind of gone into the deeper psychology of a person who is transitioning, and I've gotten a lot of people saying this helped me a lot. So if you want to understand the trans world a little bit better, or if you have a trans friend, please share the podcast with them so they can kind of understand. Now, I mean, not everybody's Miah. There's only one Miah Axton, and that's part of the beauty of this. She's insane.
Officially now, if you want to know, officially it would be bipolar and sociopath.
So, I think anyone who has listened to We Are Libertarians for 4 years would say that sociopath and bipolar probably accurate.
I wear them both with a badge of honor. We'll get into that later, I'm sure.
Today is the 5th of November.
Remember the 5th of November.
And you have gifted me with something very special. We have a We Are Libertarians Wall of Fame. I've got Crazy Larry's hat. I've got one of Rupert's flints from Survivor. I've got a Trump water bottle from his Trump rally. A Darrell Waltrip lug nut. That's nothing to do with Wall. It's just a piece of history. Various pieces of memorabilia from my time at the Libertarian Party. The cat trophy that Jeremiah gifted me. Christy Avery has given me a banner that we've got hanging up there, and you have added one of the key pieces of We Are Libertarians history to our museum that we are building on my bookshelf, and it is your Guy Fawkes mask.
My pink, impact-resistant Guy Fawkes mask that over the years got chipped. The paint was chipped away, but it was, when I had pink hair and I had that pink mask and people knew me, and I didn't always wear the mask. I usually stuck it on that purse I had that's always hanging on my side. So everyone saw the mask and the gun, and it's the 5th of November, and 2013 was the last Million Mask protest I led, and that's when those two kids got arrested and I almost got shot.
We'll take a picture after the show and then post that. I'll post that on my on the We Are Libertarians Instagram, on my Instagram. And do you have an Instagram?
I do. It's Alchemist Miah.
All right, we'll post the mask and a photo with the two of us on there, and you can see what we actually look like. If you don't already know.
Don't look up old pictures. Only look at new pictures. I'm not fat anymore.
Now, I haven't kept up with you at all. I've heard through the grapevine. I always ask friends around you, how are you? I just assume that if you want to talk, then you'll reach out to me. And
yeah, that's very wrong, but yeah.
Okay. And is that not how it's supposed to work?
people that are depressed, people that have issues with making connections, you have to feed it if you want the friendship. Like for me, you're a good person. You're good for me. Mm-hmm. I'm going to push you away and I'm going to destroy our bridge because you can make my life better. I'm depressed. I have depression. True. I will push you away. That's why I don't go places. I won't go out to places. But everyone knows where I live and still no one comes over.
Sure.
You know, and so it's a weird thing. It's like I say no and I say, yeah, I'll come out and I never do. And that's, you know, it's just part of the larger lack of communication skills when it comes to mental health in this country. But,
sure. So I'm also raging codependent. So sometimes a bipolar sociopath is not necessarily the best influence around me, but you are in the top 5 of my best friends easily. Which, as many friends as I have, you know how much you mean to me. So, and this podcast has really been one of the best experiences that I've ever had because not only do we get to connect on a deeper level. I have a problem with intimacy, as do you. So to sit and have a conversation about the things that we talk about on this podcast is difficult without a microphone between us.
Yeah. No, it really is. We're having a conversation, a very deep conversation, but we can kind of remove ourselves from it. It's in this nice little chamber.
Sure.
That's, you know, it's outside. And I think one of the best benefits this podcast has had, I think, on both of us is we were political people.
Sure.
That was our entire world. This forced us to step out of it for a minute. It brought up different conversations. We connected with different people we would have never otherwise connected to because we did this.
Sure.
And this has been, I think, one of the largest successes to come out of the We Are Libertarians Network or anything I've ever done.
Absolutely. I think the podcasts that we've done are the best podcasts that our network has ever put out. So, and some of the best episodes of We Are Libertarians are you acting like a total sociopath.
Not acting.
So I haven't seen you. I haven't talked to you. I don't know what's going on. And part of that is because I want to have it all fresh on the podcast. Have we talked on the podcast since you got out of the hospital?
Yeah. We've talked since then.
Well, we have talked. We've
podcasted since I got out, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. So I think the last time we talked, you were under doctor supervision. You were taking medicines. Just in case, I really feel like we haven't.
Have you seen the scars on my arm before?
I have not. What are those from?
Okay, then we haven't talked about that. So I was on Lexapro. It's an SSRI.
Sure. Which I am on now, currently.
I was taking that diligently.
Mm-hmm.
Well, some things went really bad.
Okay.
It was not doing well with me because I'm bipolar, and Lexapro and bipolar people do not get along.
Sure.
They thought I was borderline personality disorder. It wasn't borderline shit, motherfuckers. So Lexapro I was one of those people that Lexapro hurts.
Mm-hmm.
And I started getting a little scared of little paranoid, little scared, little freaky, a little freaked out, and I ended up gut punching Emily pretty good.
Oh my!
She was coming in to try to hug me to console me, and I was scared. I kept saying, "Get away, get away, get away, get away! Don't touch me, don't touch me!" And she was like trying to, smother me in affection, and it didn't work. And I ended up freaking out, and I screamed at her, and I punched her in the stomach, and she backed off and walked out of the room and rocked in the corner for a little bit, then went promptly into the bathroom and cut myself 27 times with a very thin, sharp razor blade. And as you can see, some of those were pretty deep because of how wide the wounds are. Cut my leg, it was bleeding real bad. Just sat in the shower for a little while and bled out and paid myself back for what I had done. And that was the day I stopped Lexapro. 3 days later, I was sitting in my therapist's office going, I'm not taking that shit anymore.
Mm-hmm. So was this after the pool party that we attended? Yeah. Okay, so we went to a pool party, and you seem to be doing okay. You seem to be fairly...
copious amounts of weed,
calm.
Very potent weed.
Yeah. We'll get to that in a minute. So all of that really just didn't really work out. And you just stop taking any kind of medicine after that? Currently,
I'm on nothing except I maintain with weed. I use it in the medicinal senses. You could replace Xanax, Valium, what's
Klonopin.
Klonopins. You can replace those with the right strains of weed.
Sure.
You can. You can take it into different ways, but I just, well, this is Indiana, and I'm limited by choice and cost, so I found a good strain here, and I smoke from the minute I wake up till right before I go to bed.
Sure.
And it maintains it. I've taken Klonopins, and it's very similar. I feel very, very similar to the way I do on Klonopins.
Right.
It's trying to do the same thing with the same chemicals in the same parts of the brain.
Sure.
And so
I've taken Klonopin before. It is when you're in a bad place and you're about to, it's anti seizure. It's it helps the GABA in your brain, and when you're having a panic attack and you take it, it ups those levels and you feel great. But if you're not, then it just makes you sleepy.
Yeah.
And it can permanently change the way that your brain works.
Yeah.
If you take,
I've taken maybe 7 of them my entire life, and I have some on hands for emergency or if I somehow magically run out of weed. But it's I had a big scare with the medicine. And that kind of got me thinking, and that kind of got things shifting, and that was terrifying. Coming off of it, getting out of my system, going through the bullshit withdrawals from it, coming out on the other side, it was terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
I'm now. I was scared of drugs before. I am now. No.
Yeah.
No. Unless they can prove to me that drug will actually do what they say it will, and they can prove it to me that with my exact body, in my exact context, if they can't prove to me that will be effective with like a medicine, like saying I have this virus, this kills that virus.
Right.
If they can't do that for me, I'm not going to take it. I know what weed will do.
Sure.
That's science. I know what microdosing shrooms and LSD does.
Sure.
I know how that doesn't have the major side effects, and there are some, but whatever, fuck it, that's over abuse. But I would really like to get into opium.
Well, that sounds like a good idea.
No. Smoking small amounts of opium. It's not heroin, and opium isn't that strong. It's like there's weed and opium, and then there's like dab and heroin.
Right.
It's the extreme. It's
Sure.
like painkillers are opium. They're just the extreme refined version. I want a weaker version, because I want to slow down.
But you also have an addictive personality. So
hell yeah. That's why I have 2 women in my life take care of me.
Right, because you're a mess.
Well, we live a life of care right now. It's very mainly focused on making sure all of our mental health and our well-being is it's shut down mode. I actually moved out of the apartment and into the garage, kind of. I sleep like on a gym mat, and I make my bed every night. I sleep out there, and I stay out there, and after I stopped Lexapro, I spent about a month and a half sitting silently by myself, not talking to anybody, not listening to music, no phone, no social media, no computer, no shows, nothing. And just sat and did nothing for a month and a half. It was the hardest month and a half of my entire goddamn life.
Right, because humans are social creatures. We need human contact as much as we need food, water, and air. So
this is kind of like I forget what it's called, but it's a more of an Eastern ideology of a therapy where when you're having problems, there's too many factors, there's too many variables to what's the problem. What am I connected to? What's a bad habit? What's part of my rut? What's spinning out of control? So I cut out Emily, I cut out Lindsay, I cut out everyone. I didn't say I love you. I didn't kiss anybody. I didn't say anything. Didn't sleep with anybody. Nothing. Just no connection to anybody. No phone. No nothing.
Yeah, you went completely silent for like a month, and I kept getting messages. I'm like, I don't know. I think even Emily deleted people on Facebook. So.
I did that.
Oh.
I deleted all of her friends. Misery loves company, and she's going to be as miserable as I am. But
well, that doesn't seem.
There's a good reason for it. Don't ask.
That's what we're here to do.
I know. We'll get to that. But I sat there, and what it is it's figuring out what's really real, what's really here, and what's really inside my head, what's really going on.
Sure.
And
so basically, if you remove all the stimulation, then you can then calibrate your brain to reality.
Right. And so that was it helped. It got me a notch up. I'm gonna have to do it in a much different way, in a much more extreme way, with different drugs next time. But What I figured out is that my brain isn't necessarily really mine. And it's weird, but what I figured out how to do is as long as I have weed and I can controlling the amount of input I'm getting, a little bit, not too much, but just a little bit, I can control the intensity of my thoughts. I can control the intensity of my feelings. I don't get to control what I'm feeling, what I'm thinking, what my thoughts are doing all the time, but I get to control how intense they get. They don't get to spiral. I don't get too manic about everything or whatever. Like,
yeah, I think that to that point, I think everybody's kind of like that. I definitely am that way.
Well, I mean, everyone's kind of like that, but then there's like my version of it. Reality is your perception of the world around you, and your perception can be wrong. That's right. And sometimes people's perceptions change.
Right.
And it's ebbs and flow with emotions and the time of the day and what's going on in the world. Mine doesn't, none of that matters to me. My mind's going to, my mind exists out of context and out of time. So mine just goes. It doesn't matter what the situation is. It doesn't matter anything. And so it just goes. But then if you know what bipolar is and what that does to the brain, I don't get to control sometimes how intense things are. Yeah, everyone has an ebb and a flow, but bipolar is basically your ebb and flow dwarfs a normal person's ebb and flow. My extremes are much higher at much further points. Like, most people's extreme would be like 0 degrees Celsius to 100 degrees, or 0 degrees Fahrenheit to 100 degrees Fahrenheit. That's people's normal temperature, extreme range. Mine's like absolute zero and like the center of the goddamn sun.
Right.
Is the range I operate in. And so it's much harder to operate in a range like that in a world that's not built to handle a range like that. And so that's why I run into problems. That's where I run into problems with friendships and relationships, is that people can't handle it. It's too much stress. And that's the thing, is that people are trying, and what I've learned is people are trying to treat me like a normal human being.
Sure.
I'm not broken. I am not wrong. I am not weird. I am just a variation of the human mind. I'm just a variation of... humans are on a spectrum. We only talk about people in the broad range of what we call normal, the middle, the average. I am not average. And so, like, what we've been trying to do with Lindsay and Emily and I is realize and try to figure out how I work and how I operate, and we'll build a life around that. We'll build a relationship around how I actually work, not how we've been told human beings work, how we've been told other people work, what works for other people. We're going to find out what works for us from a very, very, very stripped down level.
Yeah, I think that's great. That, to me, is a really healthy revelation. Like, to understand, because for so long, I mean, when we started this podcast, when you started your journey of coming out, you have always, as long as I've known you, had the sense that you're just a freak. That's the first time in our entire relationship where I've heard you say, I'm good, I'm okay, I'm just different, and not, I'm a horrible freak.
Yeah.
That is a great step towards healing. I'm really encouraged to hear that, actually.
Yeah, I reconnect with my brother after 16 years of not seeing or talking to him. And I talked to him, and I found out some information I didn't know. My biological mother is severe bipolar. She's on medication for that now, and she's much better. And she's had it for a very, very long time before I was born. And then he's bipolar and a sociopath, my brother. He spent a lot of time. You know how in Indiana, the largest mental health care provider is the prison system. Well, my brother spent a lot of time in the prison system.
Right, we talked about that.
Most of that was in mental health. A lot of things I didn't know. A lot of things I had wrongly skewed. Information I had come in one ear and got manipulated in my mind because I was holding on to hate and ill feelings. And so I've been wrong about a lot of things, and I've let a lot of things go. And I reconnected with him and found out a lot of things that, hereditary things, a lot more about family health and past family stuff and the drugs everyone's taken and what works and what doesn't. And finding out that there's a lot more crazy in my family than I previously thought. And it's terrifying a little bit, but it was relieving and reassuring to know that like I'm not alone.
And that it's not your fault.
Oh yeah, it's definitely not my fucking fault.
Right.
Ain't a goddamn thing. It's my fault.
Well, there are things that you do that are your fault. Or do you accept responsibility for, things?
No.
Like you don't. So if you punch Emily, you don't take responsibility for that.
No, I didn't punch Emily. I punched an attacker.
Mm-hmm.
That was fight or flight. I don't have to accept responsibility for those actions. I was saying, don't touch me. I was saying, get away. She violated my space. She knows, at that point, she knows what my episodes are. We had sat there and read about what those episodes are and what to expect and what not to expect. I know enough about the human mind to know how things work. And when you're panicked, and like one of my things is I'm scared. I'm terrified of everything. Mm-hmm. Fight or flight from terror. It's a primitive instinct. And if you push it, it pushes back. That's not my fault. That's a human instinct. And I'm not going to apologize for it. I made myself pay for it deeply, much more so than the little bruise she will ever do. And she's not scared of me. She knew I didn't hit her out of anger.
Sure.
Or that I was trying to hurt her. I was trying to protect myself. I was terrified. And she realized the mistake she had made in that moment.
I firmly believe Emily could beat your ass if she wanted to.
At this point, I eat less than 500 calories a day. I have no muscle mass. If I walk too much, I have to sit down because I don't have the energy to keep moving.
I am concerned that you're becoming a basic bitch.
I've always been a basic bitch. I like what I like.
You're just drinking pumpkin spice lattes all the time. Now, that seems totally rational and reasonable to me. And that is...
Yeah, because my therapist had to talk me into that rational, reasonable thought.
But see, isn't that the point? This is what I was saying a couple episodes ago. The point of a therapist is to make you go, okay, your thinking's broken, and here's a different way to frame that and think about it. Mine had to do that last week.
Well, I'm no longer seeing a therapist. Yeah, I know that. Yeah, no, it's not what you think.
I'm not judging. I'm just saying, okay.
So, like, the one I was seeing, they'd sent me to her because she kind of specialized with trans people, and she was really good. Her particular job at the time at the VA is she's in the clinic side. Mm-hmm. She is not in the department that can get me into therapy programs, that can see me for 3-hour sessions. That's not what she does. It's just not her job. Bureaucracy. Just sure. If she could have, she would have. But she was seeing me every week, and I could come in for walk-ins.
I think we had talked about that at the party, and you just said, listen, an hour in a week isn't enough for me.
Yeah, and I was going to try to move up to more. Well, what happened was, is she started to learn a bit more, then the Lexapro thing happened, and then so she wanted to get me into a DBT program, dialectical behavioral treatment program. It teaches you how to learn your brain and how to live. It doesn't tell you how to live. It teaches you how to live through yourself.
Sure.
It's really good sometimes, depending. But like this one lady I went to, she wanted to see me. I went in for like a little 45-minute little introductory thing, and she wanted to see me once every 3 weeks for a 2-hour session, and then made me move me into something else. And I was like, 3 weeks was last week, and I called and canceled. And I said, I'm no longer accepting care. The thing is, they called off Emily's phone, and none of the numbers they have they can reach me at.
Right.
I don't have a phone. I have a number that's still alive. It's just I don't have a phone that can accept those calls or get those messages or anything. Right. And I'm fine with that for now. But I just canceled them, and I have a nose surgery scheduled for December 8th or 13th or something to get
a nose.
Yeah, okay. It's to fix all the cartilage and everything in my nose. There's a lot of broken bones and scar tissue and stuff, and it's my voice has gotten more nasally over the years, and that's because my nose is clogging up with broken cartilage, and it's janked up from just accidents and fights and everything. So they're gonna fix it. I went in there once for 30 minutes. They're like, "Yeah, we'll get you on the books. We'll get that fixed up." So I'm not gonna be here for that. But I'll get it down the road. So but I said, cancel everything. I'm not going to even be here that much longer. I can't go through weeks. I don't want to get in a treatment program in a place I'm not going to be at for 6 to 8 months. I'm not going to be here for 6 to 8 months. And I want to start something somewhere where I can't finish it. So the new place I'm going is I'm going to get in down there, and I'm going to get back into therapy. I'm going to have 2 fucking goddamn therapists, because there's kind of 2 different subjects to tackle in 2 different ways. And I'm probably end up going to get on medicine again of some sort, or try to work out a deal through out of network through the VA with maybe ayahuasca, maybe microdosing LSD. Try to get into one of those the studies for the microdosing LSD and the LSD-led therapy sessions. I've been looking to doing a lot of that kind of stuff.
So when we talked, I think it was the second episode back of the second season, that whole episode was you and I arguing over therapy. And me saying, listen, why not try DBT? Why not try CBT? Why not try drugs? Why not try all that?
Yeah. Fighting you tooth and nail.
Fighting me tooth and nail. And you ended up going. Do you now, despite the Lexapro thing, I'm really encouraged to kind of hear, like, listen, okay, I'm not the problem. I'm going to manage who I am. And when you say, like, when you told me that you were leaving, I got a little scared because you have so much. Well, I got scared because the last time you said you were leaving, you're going to kill yourself. And I'm like, man, I don't know. There's, even though you may not always feel supported, you do have a lot of people that you've built up here that care about you.
None of that matters to someone like me.
Right. It's
because my pain of letting connections die, my pain of fucking everything up, letting things dwindle, not doing what I'm supposed to do, breaking promises to people. Like, I haven't talked to Rupert for months because I fucked up. I let him down hard, and I just won't talk to him again.
But do you think? But Rupert. But see, the thing is Rupert doesn't care. Rupert and I actually talked about this 2 weeks ago.
It doesn't matter about you fucking people.
Right, sociopath.
No. It's about my pain.
Sure.
Not your love.
But you can't ignore. Like, here's my point. Like,
then
people here do care about you.
Then
and
you know what's cool about depression and anxiety is when you hate yourself as a default because of something in your brain, you will not always allow people to love you. It is terrifying to think that people want to love you.
Sure. I totally understand that.
You know what it's like to sit here and want the help and support and not be able to take it?
Sure.
And then watch people just be like, I don't know what to fucking do. And not be able, I know exactly what to tell people to do. I know exactly what to say. I can't say it.
Mm-hmm.
The words are right there. I can't say it. Can't write it down. Doesn't matter. I could write it anonymously. It doesn't matter. I can't get the words out of my house because I'm not allowed to ask for help. So, but that's the thing, is that's fine. Like, I need to focus. I need to find out what's good for me, what friends are good for me. I need to figure out, like, what worlds can I handle being in, what worlds can I not handle being. You know how bad sometimes at night I this podcast keeps me up and knowing it's still out there because I've said a lot of wrong shit. I've been wrong about a lot of things.
Okay.
Or I feel I might have been, or I'm worried that I'm worried this might end up hurting someone. It doesn't matter if it's helped thousands.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it has, but if it hurts one and I find out about that, then that's extremes my mind work in. And so, like, it's just, I need to figure. There's a lot. I don't know. I don't know who I am.
But here's what I would say to that. Again, it's bad thinking.
Yeah.
It's bad thinking, and let me correct you on the thinking. Here's where you're wrong with all of that line of thinking. I feel that I have to be right, and I have to be perfect to be loved and accepted. There's literally one person in my life that I felt just loved me unconditionally. And it's kind of taken me now to this point where I include my parents in that, but it has been until this year and a lot of therapy and work to get to that place where I feel loved and accepted by my own family. I've acted like a total jackass since I got divorced, and in several different ways that I won't get into now. And I look back with a lot of regret. And there are people who, when I acted out, I got negative social cues for it. But those people, it turns out, don't love me less because of that. People don't love you less because you may have been wrong about whatever fact. People don't even remember that. What people remember is how they feel about you. That's what they remember. And so when you go dark, I get 10 messages going, is Miah okay, is Miah okay? They don't remember that you were wrong about DBT. They don't remember that you're wrong about... I don't even remember what you might have been wrong about.
Remember, it's not about you.
But no, this is where you're wrong. I understand what you're saying. But that fear of disappointing people is... It's a fear that the longer you're in someone's life, the more people care about you.
I know. I don't have a fear of disappointing people, you dense motherfucker. I have a fear of failure.
In what sense? With relationships?
Failure.
But I'm saying failure isn't an option in some relationships with some people. Somebody like Rupert...
Like Emily, like Lindsay, like Rupert, it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Logic doesn't matter. And that's the thing, that's the hardest thing for me to admit. Because I can't outsmart my own brain.
Sure. You're making progress, though. Very small. I know. I get it. But I was just sitting here listening to you thinking, Jesus, if you go back and you listen to the first episodes of the show, and you compare, we always joked about, like, or at least I joked with you, that can you imagine if you go back and listen to the first episodes to these episodes, how much higher and more feminine your voice will be? But that's not what I think people would realize. What I think people would realize is how much calmer you are and happier. And I think it is great to see you make progress. And it doesn't matter how small to other people. Are you proud of yourself for the progress that you've made?
I don't care. I'm not measuring progress. I'm not looking for progress. Not yet. I'm not to that stage yet. I don't want to worry about that stage yet. I'm just still in the admittance stage. I'm still admitting
to yourself, yeah,
and getting it through my head. Because some days I feel great. I'm like, no. And some people tell me like, just stop being that way. Just, you mind over matter, right?
Yeah, those people are idiots.
That's been my problem my entire life.
Right.
I was thinking, for me, I don't need anything. That's why I stayed away from drugs. I didn't want to do drugs. I didn't want to do any of that stuff because, I don't need that shit.
Pride.
Yeah. Well, no, it's fear. Not pride. No, never pride. Fear.
But to
fear.
Me,
because you know what happens when you admit you're crazy? The same thing, the same fear I had of admitting I was trans.
Right.
You saw what happened, death threats.
Sure.
This world doesn't understand mental illness. People say sociopath. I don't want that fucker around my kids. Or
right.
Sociopath, how are you in a relationship? Well, sociopaths and people like me share a lot of behavior with narcissists. Well, everyone thinks a narcissist is the most evil motherfucker on the planet. Mm-hmm. They're abusive and everything else. I think to myself, because of other people's opinions, that I've abused Emily over the years, that I've been abusing Lindsay. I have not. We've been trying to treat a relationship and a human being like a normal run of the human being species. Well, I am not a normal run, and that's been our problems, and I haven't been abusing anybody. We've been abused by being lied to our entire lives about what human beings really are and how many different kinds there really fucking are, and that maybe we're not all the fucking same. We shouldn't all take a bunch of goddamn drugs to fit in. And maybe I don't have to live like everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
I can live however I want. Everyone's told me I'm so smart and I can do anything I want. But then they told me I can only do it within this society, within this system. And it frustrated me because none of your shit makes sense. A sociopath, they don't, with empathy and everything else. Well, how can a sociopath be an empath too? I'm selective. I get to care about what I want to care about. I get to choose my core beliefs and philosophy. People don't think sociopaths are really scary. The reason they attack them is because they're fucking jealous. And
explain that.
I think for humanity to move forward, more sociopathic behavior would be required. It's a much colder world. We don't need that emotional family bullshit to survive anymore. We don't. We are more akin to, and what would be more logical for human evolution is more logical thought, less emotion-based reaction, a coupling of the logical and the emotional side of the brain instead of one over the other, and one class does this, one class does that. You look at how emotions have been in the driver's seat for so long that without any control, that Christianity, all these religions, look at the people in the Philippines getting fucking slaughtered wholesale for just doing drugs or being addicts or being gay or being a little weird. Like, they don't really use the word gay and trans and stuff over there, but like, they're being rounded up wholesale because of religion. That's happening all across the world. I mean, we're bombing people and killing people and everything else, and it's I don't know what my point was anymore.
Well, here's what I think your point was, and here's where I would validate that. You were saying that sociopaths are good for society.
Yeah.
And
that's my point. Yeah, no, there's more point to make there. Hold on.
Go ahead before I sum it up, because I don't disagree with you.
Well, everyone has a splash of sociopath in them. Everything's a spectrum.
Everybody's self-centered.
Well,
especially in this day and age, and I don't ever believe that there was a time that people weren't.
I am the most selfish person you will ever meet. Right?
Agreed.
Yeah, I'm not also one of the most giving people you've ever met?
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm selfish, I'm smart. I'm a very intelligent person, and most sociopaths are people that have a lot of those qualities would be, right? They usually are. Like, depending on the test, we're between 130 and 160 IQ.
Mm-hmm.
But how I operate, how I learn is much different than how I've ever come across. And I come across it in little bounds, little leaps. But my understanding of how people work is great. How I actually work is not like how other people work.
Right.
We don't have the language for it. We don't have, you're used to muscle memory, throughout your whole life, and you learn social cues, and you learn how to do this, and you learn how to do that. I learned about all that. And none of it fits. Those pieces don't I'm trying to shove a square block through a round hole my entire life. And it's like, fuck. So I'm just now finding my tools, but moving forward, we don't need those emotions. We don't need emotional manipulation to survive. And as you see, like millennials and stuff, we're very sociopathic in the fact that we ignore authority. If we don't respect authority, we do not follow authority. Well, that is part of the definition of what a sociopath is, because really, when they use the word sociopath, I don't like to use anymore, because it basically was just a term to define people that are anti-normalcy, anti-tradition, anti-authority. That's why we have a bajillion different labels. It doesn't matter, but I know I use that word because that's the best way to describe how I feel inside. But I also feel like I'm an empath. Like, I feel everything. I walk into a room and I feel everything.
I think you just gave the best explanation of... So I used to take so much shit for not just having you on the podcast, but being your friend because of that exact reason. And I couldn't necessarily articulate it the way that you just articulated it, but to some extent, I would always say to you, like, what you're saying is so great and so on point and so different than what anybody else says. I just hate the way you do it with such anger and bombacity. Like, it was over the top. And if you just would cut out the anger.
Well, that's stemming from
fear,
a life of trauma.
Sure.
A life of hiding, a life of, I came out, but it didn't fix everything. That was half of the story. I didn't come out even to myself about the other half of the story, to admit to the violence and the trauma I went through as a kid, and that my brother went through, and just a lot of bad shit, and a lot of I've lived a very dangerous, highly dangerous life. I have seen more danger in my daily life than most people will ever see.
Right.
I don't work in offices. I don't do this or that. Everything I've ever done has been on, like, probably pretty much the top 12 most dangerous jobs. I've been a cop. I almost applied for APD to be a fucking detective straight out the gate because, well, bullshit. But, like, and it takes its toll.
Mm-hmm.
And with my life really having no true enjoyment in it, I've not been able to enjoy life.
Yeah.
Me. All the time I've spent with my parents has not been me. All the time I spend with my friends has not been me. And that's why I got to leave. I don't want to spend time with people that love me until I am who I am, until I am who they see. Because I know how people see people. I know people can see past a lot of things like you do.
Yeah.
Lindsay, Emily. I want to see that too. And until I do, I don't want nothing.
Meaning you want to see yourself the way that we see you?
I want to be able to see that.
Okay.
I want to be able to see
but
the inspiration everyone else sees. I want to be able to believe that. My main thing is, it's not the bipolar, it's not sociopath. I need to get rid of the depression.
Mm-hmm.
I need to get rid of the anxiety and manage those two things, and I'll be fine. But that's the hard part.
Let me tell you something that I'm struggling with. I watched about a month ago. I've talked here about my struggle with anxiety and depression and panic attacks, and we've been on a parallel path. Mine certainly less traumatic and dramatic than I think you've been, but definitely on a self-discovery, because I spent a lot of my life wrapped in pride out of fear and pretending normal, embracing stoicism and being, good, because I didn't want people to see who I really was. And I didn't really know who I was. I didn't really have any understanding of my true self until the last couple of years. I never thought I was an intelligent person. I thought I was nearly dumb until I dated a person who basically said, no, you're like the smartest person I've ever met. How do you not see your own intelligence? How do you not see all these good things about yourself? And through the process of therapy and dating, and because when you date, you see a lot of things about yourself. As you're discovering another person, you're talking about yourself, and that's therapy. I mean, therapy is talking about yourself, and every time I go in and have therapy, I think, as I'm saying something out loud, I'm thinking, holy shit, I just discovered this.
Yeah.
And I spend a lot of time in self-pity, upset that I'm not happy. And my happiness is judged on other people's happiness. And that's why I think social media is terrible, because I look at other people and I go, I will die unfulfilled and deeply disappointed if I don't have the kind of relationship with a woman that you have with Emily. I'm very jealous of that.
Right.
I'm very jealous of the type of person that deals with someone's imperfections and doesn't give up.
You gotta understand, though, Chris, and I think to speak to your larger point you're going at, is that you don't have the whole picture.
Well, let me finish. So it's because in my life, everybody's always given up. And that, I think, it makes me angry, it makes me fearful, it makes me just upset. And there is a part of me that goes, listen, I'm happier now after these 3 years of self-discovery. I'm more confident. I like myself. I am under no rush or panic to find a mate. I'm happy being alone. I'm prepared to die alone and childless and all that kind of stuff. Would I prefer the alternative? Of course. But I'm not panicked and fearful like I was. I'm not afraid of abandonment. Rejection isn't a trauma to me anymore. Dating 2 years ago was traumatic. Being rejected consistently. But I'm also miserable. And I'm just... I think if people compared the two of us, they'd say, Spangle's so happy. But I think if you compared me to, I don't know, Katy Perry, I'm not as happy. And I watched the documentary about the Roosevelts that Ken Burns did. It's on Netflix, and it's really good. And a lot of it was about Teddy Roosevelt's depression, anxiety, and just general sadness. And that never went away. And he was a guy who went through a childhood of trauma, and I'm sort of struggling with the idea that maybe that depression, that sadness, that general malaise, the anxiety, while I am better at managing it, it's just never going to go away. And it is an essential piece of who I am. And if I can learn to accept, to love myself and like who I am, then I'm okay with that piece of shittiness in my life, because it makes me funny. It makes me intelligent. It is what has taught me to be empathetic, because I have to adjust to people like you who, you are self-centered and I am a caretaker, and so I have learned to have to adjust myself to your needs, and that has made me good with people.
But you know what's fucked up? It's taken you how many years to come up with that? It took you how long to reach that?
It wasn't until 30, yeah.
Okay.
30 that I finally got to that place.
Wouldn't it be great if maybe instead of sending our kids to a class with the kids of their same age and from the same area and everything else, and we taught them that everyone was the same, and we taught them people are like this, like that, if maybe we instead of treating people under the golden rule, we use maybe the platinum rule, treat people how they would like to be treated, so we understood that everyone's different and other people have different fucking needs and wants, and relationships can work different and this and that, and like maybe one day I hold out hope that we stop talking about politics. We stop talking about what religion's best, which God is more righteous. We stop talking about stupid shit, and then maybe we sit down and actually think about the society we live in, the society we built, the society we sustain, and the society we're giving to our children as they have to grow up looking towards what exactly? They don't have a future. I think about Lindsay's kids, and both under 10, and I can't even begin to picture what their future's going to look like and what kind of world they're going to have to look to, and why in 2016 is a trans parent worried about being trans and other kids finding out that one of their kids' parents is trans? Like, why is that a fear in 2016? Shouldn't we have moved on? Should we have left some of this shit in the past?
Sure.
I think we are. I think our generation and the generation after us is leaving a lot of shit behind. The reason I lost my last active Facebook page is because I was in a SJW free trans support group, and they were in a discussion, an argument about who can call themselves trans or not. And I was reading through this discussion and just kind of throwing out little lobs as I do to rile people up and see what they really mean. And, these people were basically wanting to do the same thing everybody else always does, is classify who can and who can't be this. And you have to, if you don't chop your dick off, you're not really going to want to, you're not really transgender. If you don't want to chop your tits off and get a fake dick, you're not really a guy, and you're not really trans. If you find clothing attractive, you're really just a dirty cross-dresser.
And these were people that were in
this is SJW free support group. Half these people were anarchists, and I'm like, these people were tired. Half these people haven't even been on hormones for a year. Some of these people haven't even started hormones yet, and they're telling me, I mean, what podcast are we fucking talking on here? They told me, who's been in this shit in the trenches for 5 goddamn years, who and what can be what. I've been identifying under NB, non-binary, for a minute now. It's just what I've been telling people, because my sex is female, because if you go by biology and the hormones in my system right now and how it's operating, it's biologically more aligned to female. We do not use genes, the X, the Y, and the XX. That is not how a lot, and I'm going to say probably the majority of the scientific community does not mark gender or sex with those chromosomes. There has been forever a disagreement on using it that way. It's not settled science, so I'm not going to use it. Biologically, I am female. Biologically. But, I mean, by all the classifications, even the way even animals with penises and asexual animals, I would be leaning towards female because my primary sex hormone is estrogen. Okay, cool. As far as gender and everything, I don't fucking care. I've got I mean, if I could legally do it, I'd have 2 wives right now. We'd also be married to each other. I'm in a polyamorous relationship that's beautiful. I don't need to worry about that. Like the way I dress and everything else, I feel great. I'm very happy with myself. I have short hair because it's nice, and I'm comfortable with it. I have the things I have and everything else, and I've come so far in this journey of transition. And I really don't think this is a story about my life. This isn't a story about transition.
Absolutely,
this has been a story about my puberty, my real puberty, not my transition. I'm not going from one to another.
Yeah,
I'm going from wrong to right.
Right.
And I'm not transitioning to be a woman. I was never a man. That's why I like that whole assigned male at birth, assigned female at birth. We were told who we were. We were told through cues, through social cues and contracts and constructs who to be. And we listened. Everyone else had this driving force that matched where they were going. I had a driving force that didn't. And I had to hide through fear. I had to hide away and throw away because of fear of not fitting in a mass portion of my life. And then I threw away years of it when I got it. And I got the answers I needed to transition or do something. I did it wrong. I was trying to be a woman based on what everyone else thought a woman is, not on the woman I am.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. That's why I'm fearful of this podcast, because I didn't speak to that. I didn't speak that way. I was trying to be a woman based on everyone else's definition, not mine, not of the woman I am.
But this is...
I know it's a long journey. It's a long thing. I know, but that's something I worry about, and that's why I want to say that now. So if someone does go back, or if someone does mention somebody else and they start from the front, just like, hey, stick with it, go through the whole thing. It'll make more sense that way, and it's fine because it has it's put in an order my thought processes from the beginning to now.
There's probably, let's say, less than 20 hours at this point. If somebody goes back and listens to 20 hours, they're hearing 5 years. They're hearing a lifetime summed up in a very short amount of time.
Yeah.
And you have dealt with not just what every trans person probably goes through, but what most people go through.
Yeah.
You know, I think of my own emotional growth just from being around you. You and Greg have probably been the 2 most influential friends in my self-acceptance. And it's for the sole reason of stop apologizing for who you are.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with you. And man, I am going to try and get this out without breaking down, but it wasn't until this year I stopped apologizing. I lived my life apologizing for being me.
Yeah.
There is no greater prison than that.
None.
I didn't cut my balls off. I don't take hormones. I'm look at this chest hair. I'm very, as I like to say, I have high T.
Yeah, I have more than you still after all these laser treatments and hormones. Like,
but
yeah,
I have lived my life apologizing for who I am, and Greg has said directly to me, "Stop apologizing for who you are," and you have given me the example of not apologizing for who I am. And at certain points, it's like, yeah, but your talk doesn't match your walk. You're finally at a place where your talk matches where your walk is, and that integration that has happened over the last year is such a great thing for you and so healing, and I know that because I'm going through it too.
Yeah.
And so this podcast has... Yeah, you made mistakes, and you may have said things that were a mistake, but now you've learned from those mistakes, and you were able to help shorten somebody else's path.
Yeah.
And I think...
Well, no, this proves, and I think of like other people have listened to it, people that aren't trans or don't necessarily even understand have listened to it. They still got a lot out of it because when it comes down to it, you know what? We're all the fucking same.
Yeah.
We're all humans. We're all on a spectrum. We're all a little different. We've all got our own things, and those weird things, those things that might irritate you, that might irk you, or that make you really happy, those are what makes us us. Those are the little bits and bobs that make us all unique, and we need to stop squashing that out of us. I see people do it to their kids all the time, and it's like, honey, if you do that, people think you're weird. Motherfucker, fine. Have you ever heard Elon Musk talk? You ever seen him move? That motherfucker is, oh my God, Steve Jobs is weird. Bill Gates is weird. Some of the most influential, best people are fucking odd.
Mm-hmm.
There's a giant tattoo on my back, and it basically stands for equivalent exchange. And that you get back what you give out. And that everything is a fair trade. It has to be in some way or another, through karma, through life, through energy, through whatever. Everything is fair when it really comes down to it. Because that's the law. That's a law, a real law. That's not a man-made written law. That's not a law physically observed. That's just the way it is. Everything operates on equivalent. You cannot create nor destroy matter, right?
Yep.
And emotions, and the way we even know from a science factor, even through the Bible and through religions, we know that we have other sensory, like we ingest, our brains ingest trillions upon trillions upon trillions of bytes of information. And we don't even know what information is. We can't even measure. We don't even know all the sensory ways we have. But since you cannot create nor destroy matter, when you transfer energy between people, when you transfer emotions between people, when you make somebody feel bad, well, there's equivalent exchange there still of some sort. No matter what, it's all equal. And once you put out, you get back, I believe. That's why there's, like I said, there's a giant fucking tattoo of it on my back. And my middle name is a throwback to it. But that's how life works. And if people just accepted that simple premise, nothing else fucking matters. Nothing else matters.
It's so refreshing to hear you say exactly what I have been telling you our entire friendship.
Fuck you, man.
Aren't you so much happier now that you're trying not to be so damn negative? I mean, I understand, and that's what I would always say to close friends who just were like, I stick with people.
Yeah.
And everybody would always say, like, you don't need that in your life. I'm like, yeah, but I'm sticking with Miah.
You know why? Because everyone's been fucking tone policing my entire life.
Sure.
You know what you've done all these years? You've listened to what I said, and you knew who I was. You paid attention, and you didn't care about my tone or how I said it or all the insults I said. You saw what I was saying. That's why you guys make jokes about I was the hipster anarchist.
Right.
You guys talking half the jokes you make right now, I was a part of in making 3 fucking years ago.
Well, and
but no, that's not what I don't want to
I understand it's you can fool people. I always saw who the true Miah was.
Yeah.
And I go, listen, yeah, I know she's angry, and I know that she has this act and this character, but that's a character. The true Miah, if you really spend some time and get to know that person, is a deeply caring person.
Judge me by my actions. If people judge me by my actions, we're good. But the thing is, I don't usually share a lot of my actions. Other people share about my actions.
Sure.
Most of my best stuff, I never share. I don't tell people all the shit I do.
And I think that's, if you take that equivalency argument, if you look at our friendship, there's a mutual exchange.
Yeah.
It's not based on, I don't know what friendship is really based on. I mean, I base friendship off of what people do for me and what I do for them. You know what I see as friendship? You know what I know what friendship is for me? Mm-hmm.
Is that no matter how many days pass between the time we see each other, no time has passed.
Sure.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I'm not in your life every day and I don't know what's going on. I know who you are.
Sure.
You know who I am. Time means nothing. That's friendship to me.
Yeah.
Acquaintances are people that you have to keep up with and that you can grow apart from. We'll never grow apart, man. Ever.
You move away and we don't talk for 10 years and then we talk and you come back, it will be just like it was the 10 years previous.
Yeah.
And vice versa. I know that.
That's what friendship is to me. That's how I define it.
So I do feel guilty that I haven't reached out that much. But I know that you know that I care about you. I just don't know how to deal with it a lot of times.
And see, the thing is I don't know how to tell you. I don't know how to give you tools.
Sure.
Emily's been finding out tools, Lindsay's been finding out tools, but they live with me every day, day in, day out, and they're a different role. They take a different role in my life. But I got a lot of shit to figure out, and the thing is that leaving here and leaving all my friends, leaving all my support is I want to be able to come back and give back.
Sure.
Rupert, life is good, but you give back.
Yeah. It's because I'm at a place in my life where it's not my responsibility to take care of you.
Yeah.
And if you need something from me, then you can ask, and I can say yes or no. And to do what I did in 2013, I look back now and go, a lot of that was two things. It was enabling, and it was also me creating drama in a very boring life.
Yeah.
Because I thrive on chaos. I always I don't understand people who live in chaos. Well, the truth is I fucking love chaos because I had a horrible, traumatic period of my teen years.
It's how you look at chaos. It's about the way you attach things to things. See, the thing is that I haven't known how. I don't ask for help usually.
Right.
I use other people asking for help as an opportunity to get in and then ask for help.
Mm-hmm.
I operate very oddly, and the thing is that we don't talk enough about, and people say you should deal with this person this way, and you should deal with this person this way, and this is how you deal with those kinds of people. No, it's not. Every person's different, and the thing is that it's not your responsibility, but sometimes it would behoove people to take some extra responsibilities in life once in a while, ones that matter.
Yeah, I mean, there's
people
absolutely
worry about their social scenes, their jobs, their cars, their lives. And when someone's really hurting, people don't make the effort. They don't take responsibility. And for some people, when you say, you're my friend, if you need anything, just call me. Well, what if you can't call? But if the help isn't easily accepted, you need to push to help on somebody. You need to help somebody if they even let you in the door. Like me telling people where I live and how to get in contact with me, that's me asking for as much help as I can. Just come over. I post all the time. Just come over, anybody. Just come over. I'll take care of you. I'll feed you. I'll fucking smoke you out. I'll go get booze for you. I don't care. I'll throw money at you. Just come over. I'm alone, but I can't leave. Nobody did. I had to go everywhere. I had to go to everyone. No one ever came to me. But I know that now. I know what I was doing. Couldn't do it any louder. Nobody saw. People left me alone. If I blew up on them, they're like, okay, just give her space. Like Harry and everybody else was like, just give her space. She's just going to keep doing that. Yeah, I am. I'm fucking struggling. I'm dealing with more than average. And so people wouldn't step up to the fucking plate. I surround myself with smart people, right? People usually think outside of the box. Did anybody read a book? Did anybody maybe do something a little extra, maybe a little outside of the box to help me? What they thought would work didn't. What they were doing wasn't. Was I getting better when people just left me alone and left me to my own devices? No. Was anybody really, really being a fucking alpha? Because no one would stand up to me. No one would tell me I was wrong. They would just ignore me and leave me alone. Oh, you're an adult. They're an adult. They can make their own decisions. Well, you know what? Adults have mental problems too. Some things, especially in your late 20s and early 30s, is when shit starts to set in and shit catches up to you and shit comes out of the woodwork and shit makes you do dumb shit. And we all know that, right? We're all smart. We all know about minds and what all these words mean and what bipolar is and sociopath. We know how to react to it. We know how to react to those words and ostracize people and tell people they're fucking weird and crazy and just leave that guy. He's a bipolar person. Just leave that crazy bitch. Yeah? That's what we do. Just let them do their own thing, right? Now maybe you just need to open their door and walk inside and just fucking hug somebody. Don't let them get away. Just hold on to somebody. Don't let them get away. And that's what everyone's done. They've let me just float away. I'm on a boat without a fucking paddle, man. I can't come back. And they just watch and they float away. They don't do anything. And that's what we do to people with mental illness. We just watch them float away. And then we wonder what happened, why they killed themselves. Oh, I saw that coming. That's what we do. Because people are scared to even admit mental illness is real. People admit they're taking drugs. They won't admit they're going to therapy.
Mm-hmm.
People can't admit other people have real mental illness because they're afraid of it being that real. They're afraid of it being tangible right in front of them. That's why we demonize it. Because we're terrified of it ourselves. But
I know you feel that way, but you're full of shit.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, you are.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, you are. Because for 6 months, probably the last year, how many people have told you, listen, we're done with your shit, go get therapy? I was one of them. Josh Featherstone rode in the car with Emily. I've had multiple conversations with Emily. There are people in your life that have pushed you into those places.
Yeah.
And they're not there every day.
No. The
and
thing
I know
is,
that you'd like that, but...
No, that's not the thing. That's not the thing. Is there's so much more than that.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of what I'm saying and how I'm feeling right now didn't come from me. It came from medical professionals, people with PhDs out the ass that have told me these things. Have told me this is the way things are.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the way. It doesn't matter what you think. It matters what I'm actually seeing and feeling. It matters what's real in my brain, right? Reality is just our own perception. But here's the thing, is I surround myself with smart people. People that can think outside the box. And it took how long? Yeah, I know. I'm trouble. I know I'm rough. I know I'm extreme. But I've been looking for a long time for someone to match that. I needed to know that there was someone else as extreme as I was. There's someone I could that I wasn't alone. That someone could really understand me. It hadn't been my dad. It wasn't my mom. Until recently, it wasn't until a couple therapists and I reconnect with my brother that I understood.
Mm-hmm.
That I finally understood that there's at least one human being in this entire world that can understand what I say and what I mean. Literally. I say things and I get frustrated, and that's where a lot of my anger comes from, is I literally cannot create the sentences I need. I say things in the way I try to, but I honestly, half the shit coming out of my mouth is not actually what I'm wanting to say. The way things operate in my mind, I cannot get out. I can't make sense. They just be sounds. They just be me yelling and screaming and going on little rants. That's my brain getting extremely frustrated with not being able to get my language out. Because how I see things and how I understand, I can't explain. I can't say what I mean. I can't. It's weird. I don't know what it is. But we this country, this world doesn't understand mental illness. That statism is mental illness. That thinking we need controlled and told what to do and have to live based on how old people did things and how a completely different world without any of the technology we had operated and on all these old things, that's mental illness. Pandering to the common lowest denominator is insanity. That's mental illness. Living in a world in poverty day in and day out and putting up with the bullshit, not being allowed to grow vegetables in your own yard, or putting up with all the chemicals and the laws and this and that, and being afraid constantly, maybe being pulled over and your light's not working and you're getting a ticket, and that one ticket's going to fucking put you in financial ruin. You make one mistake, it's held against you for your entire life. We put our kids through indoctrination camps for 12 years before then sending them off to another indoctrination camp, which will put them into a lifetime of debt to get a job that does nothing. You know, lawyer, doctor. Those are not efficient jobs. Not at all. They're backwards. They're myopic. They're funneling. They're wrong. They're insanity. Sticking kids in aged bracket groups with rigidity throughout their day. That's insanity. Putting a kid in a building all day for 8 hours a day. Motherfucking kid. No wonder we're putting them on drugs. No wonder they just fucking legalize prescribing fucking full strength opiates to children as long as what was it, 7 or 8?
I didn't see that.
Whatever. But that's insanity. So going back to the point you made earlier, I'm not going to feel bad about who I am and about the way I am and about the way I do things. And I really shouldn't feel bad at all about anything I've ever done wrong, ever. Because I have admitted my faults about supporting the insanity. I've fought against the insanity. I've sacrificed tens of thousands of dollars in the name of it. I've sacrificed probably years off my life for it. I've put myself in jeopardy and probably made all my mental issues much worth doing it. And so for me to say I'm fine, for me to say is basically fuck everyone else, I really am going to sit down and focus on me and me alone and do whatever I have to do in whatever way I want to. Whatever way works best for me, I'm going to go out there and make my own goddamn life with my own goddamn rules because you know what? Men made up the rules we're under right now. Men. These are the laws of men, of corruption. I don't want to live a corrupt, evil life. I don't want to have hate. I don't want to have violence. I don't want any of that. I want to just live. And it's really hard to do in this world with a 9-to-5 job and putting up with all the bullshit, right? Yeah, I'll sell drugs. I'll work on pot farms. I'll do whatever. I don't care. I want to find some peace. I've been fighting for a long time. I've been feeling like I had to do something, you know? I had to be the champion. I had to fight. I had to sacrifice myself and help, and no one else helped. Well, you know what? I'm done helping. It's time for other people to help, you know? I'll help in my own way, and I'll connect with people, but no one really knows who I am. There's very few people who have actually connected with me, but there's very few people who can keep up with me. And what I mean with that is, yeah, I'm bipolar. I'm fucking crazy, yo. And my life's going to be a fucking yo-yo. Back and forth, up and down, all over the place. I will never sit still. I will not have that white picket fence, and that's fine. I've got people that want to come with me, actually. I want people that want to do what actually must be done to help me. Stop expecting me and helping me live in a world that is not designed for someone like me. And that's my point, is no one actually helps. No one actually talks to you on the same level as you. Me and human life are not treated the same way in my mind as other people's minds. The way I see humanity, the way I see human life, if that's from being just naturally I am, or is that from the training I received in the military, it matters not. How I see human life is on a very, I guess, dark and evil platform compared to most people. I really don't care. I don't. About adults mostly, or people that are in a situation that they put themselves in or are in control, like cops and everything else. When I made that video about talking about the morality of killing cops and everything else, that's not just me being shocking. It's me being serious. That's how I see the world. That's my reality. But people think I'm crazy. People think I'm just acting. And I'm supposed to feel ashamed. That's who the motherfuck I am. But there's always these limits to how much crazy we'll accept from somebody. There's always these limits. There's always these boundaries. That's too far. Maybe you should take medication to bring that down a little bit. Maybe you should do this, that. No, if I want to be who I really am, I would scare most people. I'm not kidding.
I know you aren't.
But I feel shame for that. I'm scared to be me because I'm scared to see people's reactions to it. When I talk about blowing shit up and doing what must be done, and I get really emotional and fucked up, is I look at how many people are dying right now. Look how many people are rotting in prison for victimless crimes. Look how many countries are under economic sanctions and dying. Look how many trans people have died this year. Does anybody know? Does anybody know how many how many people have been died by the cops? You know how many soldiers have killed themselves this year? Do you know how many soldiers have had to kill innocent people, drop bombs on innocent people? You know how many kids are being abused right now and abused in the system of CPS? How many kids are killing themselves because of their school? We have no future. We have debt. We have nothing. But me talking about using a little tiny bit of violence to end the cycle of bloodshed and suffering, I am the extremist and crazy, and I have no one standing behind me when all I want to do is help, actually actionable help, not argue over politics. You know what arguing over politics has gotten you? Trump and Hillary, and then the Libertarian vice presidential candidate backing one of the two main other candidates. That's what arguing politics and working your ass off for years has gotten you. You feel satisfied yet, man? You feel like you've done anything? You feel like any less fucking children over in some fucking brown desert land are not getting killed and starving to death and drinking fucking radiated water from all of our depleted uranium shells? That we're dropping, we're giving weapons and bombs and money to all the wrong people. We're helping support kill millions of people around the world. That we supported the shit and set up the shit that's happening in South America right now, as the majority population is dark-skinned black, and yet they are being almost genocided against right now. And no one knows, no one cares. But for me to bring up simple solutions, very simple, very small sacrifices, very simple things. Not even a lot of people might even have to, no one would have to die. But see, no one even talks to me as I'm being serious, like I'm even real. They think it's a character. So, where are my friends?
Nobody says.
Where are the people? Where are the people that want to match me? Where are the people? Where are my people? The people on my level. I don't have people on my. I have two kind. I have the most beautiful Lindsay and the most beautiful Emily. Period. But even they can't keep up with me. No one can keep up with me. I've been told to slow down my entire life. I've been told I'm too fast. I'm doing things too fast. You're moving too fast. Slow down and focus. Slow down so others can keep up. I was the second highest I-step score in my fucking school out of 600 students. I had the second highest test scores, first depending on which test it was. For the 4 different I-step tests, I was the second highest score. I was in all the retard classes because I was too fast. So they just slowed me way down. They wanted to put me on a million different fucking drugs. I've always been told to slow down, that I move too fast. No, I don't. I move at my motherfucking speed. Mine. But no one. Everyone's always slowing me down one way or another. Oh, everyone's always telling me to not be so violent, or not be so angry, or not be so passionate, or not talk like that, or not do this. Everyone's always telling me what not to do. No one's ever going, I support you. They do on some things they're comfortable with. No one steps out of their comfortable boundary zone, though. I do, nonstop, for everyone. No one steps out of their comfort zone for me. Who's going to go help me kill people? Who's going to help me go save? No, I'm not kidding. I know. You know how many people come to me that tell me they need my help because their children are getting beat by an abusive father or mother or a drug user, and CPS had help for years and they're out of money and they're suffering? I know a person right now that has daily seizures from the stress they're going through on not being able to help their goddamn kids, man. But I'm crazy for wanting to go break every goddamn bone in that abuser's body. I'm crazy for not wanting to stand by and watch children suffer. I'm crazy. Who's going to drive me up there to fucking slit that motherfucker's throat? Nobody. Because that's crazy. No, it's not. That's my goddamn reality. I'm willing to do the things you slaves, not you slaves aren't willing to. I'm willing to lead the protest in the fucking street. I'm willing to stand up to the fucking bully. You bring me to the house where you think someone stole something from you. People use me. I've hurt. I won't say I've done anything else, but I've hurt a lot of people, man. A lot of bad people that should have just been in prison. But you know what happens to an abuser, to a rapist when they get out of prison? They go back and kill their fucking accusers, and they kill their victims. Pieces of paper don't stop psychopaths. You know what stops psychopaths? People like me. But no one ever wants to use me. You know, I can't get a 9-to-5 job. But you know what? You pay me to fucking kill people that are hurting children? You pay me to get rid of people that are hurting people? Yeah, no. But that's crazy. But we pay cops to kill people. We pay cops to lock people up and kill them by the law. We pay our young men and women with their fragile young minds at 16, 17, 18 years old. And we sign them up and promise them the world and then send them over to a shit box so they come back and kill themselves anywhere between 18 to 22 a day, depending on the fucking numbers. We steal their fucking souls and their youth. And then we praise them as heroes and send them to one of the worst hospital networks in the entire country. And I'm crazy. And my ideas are crazy. The world you people wanted me to live in is fucking crazy. You know why? Because even though I'm a sociopath and I have problems with emotions, I feel that every day. I know all this information. I'm knowing that people are suffering. And if I go buy something, a pack of gum, those taxes will help that. That if I help people survive right now and people keep living their lives, that we're going to keep getting Hillarys and Trumps and more people are going to die. I feel that every goddamn day. And people tell me I'm crazy for wanting to stop it. Now, every day, thousands of people die because we stand by and do nothing. You know how many fucking trannies been killed this year? You know how many killed this year? Most people don't. I do. And it kills me because no one will help me and I can't do it. So you know what? Now I'm going to be judged and called crazy because I don't care anymore. Because I want to just go find some peace and quiet and live. But I'm crazy. Yeah. I found a lot of peace. I found a lot of right side of mind to be at. You're right. I've improved a lot. But I've also learned who I am. And where I fit in and who my friends are. And holding on to the past, holding on to friends that were made off of personas, friends that don't actually know who I am, aren't real friends. You're my friend. Harry's not my friend. Greg's not my friend. The other Greg's not my friend. Bittner's not my friend. I mean, they're good people. They're all wonderful people. They all have their flaws. They've all been very decent people. You know, I have nothing bad to say. I mean, I always have bad things to say about people, but you know, people fuck up, people do things, and I don't always know that both sides of the story. And why harbor anything? I can let go. And it's a fucking superpower because I don't have to hold on to stupid shit, and I don't have to hold on to anything. It's just there. It's just there. My belief system is that we have a bond that we can't measure, that we can't see. I mean, there's a whole nother side of reality that we can't even begin to comprehend, like dark matter, antimatter. We only know it's there because of how it interacts with everything else. We're so stupid. We don't get how this shit works. But I feel things. We're bonded forever. I know. We'll know. I can wake up, like when she wasn't living with us, I could wake up and I knew exactly how she felt when she woke up in the morning. I know how she was feeling that day. She would text me and I already knew. I feel. We connect with people. When we deeply connect with people, maybe it's some people, maybe not everyone can, and in some ways we do differently. But I always know how you're feeling, man. If I know how you're feeling, that means you're a friend of me and that we'll always be connected. But I'm not connected to all these other people. Their words mean a lot. Sometimes it helps. Their actions are what I measure. And unless you're really willing to do what it takes, and you're actually willing to make reality what you want, like you have, you've done an excellent job at making your own reality, making life what it is, making it what you want it to be for you based on how you operate. You've built your own empire. It's beautiful. My empire is going to be built a little bit differently with people that can keep up with me because I'm different. And I can admit that now. I'm learning what kind of different. I just need to find my species because I think it's about time science starts classifying humans a little bit differently because there's enough of a difference between me and you and me and most other people. There is a difference. There's a massive difference between me and other people. I'm not saying it's better, not saying it's worse. There's just enough of a difference, and I need to find my own kind of people. And that's my thinking. That's where my brain is. I'm just a different step in human evolution. I'm just a different kind of human. And we need to think that way because I'm pretty sure that's true when they say all men were created equal. Bullshit. You actually believe that shit? All men are created equal? Motherfucker, you ever seen a retard? You ever met a tranny? You ever met a midget? You ever met somebody that was born with a heart too large? You ever met somebody born without certain organs? You ever met somebody that was born with an autoimmune disease. We're all born equal my ass.
Meaning we don't treat those people equally.
What they meant when they say all men were created equal is that all men were created with the same equal opportunity, that we should all be treated as equals. Not treated the same, but as equals. Not that we are the same, but every man should have the same opportunity to live their life as they see fit, as they are, not as we want them to be. You think of how this country was built. Have you ever looked up how we've controlled the amount of people that can come from different backgrounds and different races and countries and everything else?
Yeah, it's like if you're British, then it's something like 15 years. If you're Mexican, it's like 400.
Yeah.
In terms of how hard it is to enter the United States.
And how many people will let in and what kind and how picky we are and everything else. And so I see things for the way they are. You know that music video, whatever, that guy puts on the glasses and he sees the world for how it really is, and everyone's like a skeleton and disgusting, everything's disease and ads and bullshit, right? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm talking about? That's how I see. You know, and see, it's equivalent exchange. I'm blind in one eye, but I get to see things in a completely different way. I don't have depth perception and I can't see out of the fucking left side, but I can see things other people can't.
Can you see this?
Yeah, I can. Can you see me maybe hitting you in the face with that mask a couple times until your face is about that pink? Now, what I'm saying is that we really need to fucking just think about people in a little bit different way. We need to understand that no matter how similar some of our experiences might seem, no matter how many similarities we might share, we might not really be that similar. Because how things affect people, we need to stop needing to have so much in common with people. Think about how different we are and how different I am than from the rest of your group. Just like Niece. Yeah. That has been monumental in building this show, building everything. It's about discourse. It's about standing up for your beliefs, about defending your beliefs and talking about different angles of things, right? Mm-hmm. That's really what you're striving for, right? Mm-hmm. You know, that's what I am. And I get to move around through life, and I get to, so far in my life, I've affected more people than you would say on average. Like, my life has touched more lives than most other people's lives ever will. And either a negative or positive, but in a strong way. And I'm fine with that. That if that means I just have to keep tumbling through, fucking A. Yeah, sure. I'll never have my own kids, but I'll leave a bigger mark on this world than just eugenics. I already have. And that's just how my life will be. It's like Johnny Appleseed, you know. He'll never see those fucking trees again, but it's going to feed a lot of people probably. Going to be a lot of memories created, a lot of joy created, and warmth when they cut it down for wood, or they're going to make something out of it. Be a little fucking Johnny Appleseed, man.
So what's next?
Self-improvement. We're moving to Las Vegas by the end of the month. November. We got some friends out there. It's kind of an everyman city, you know? It's got everything we need. It's got the weather I want. It's got the kind of people I may or may not want. It's got a lot of opportunity. A lot. I know a lot of pot farms out there. I know how the pot laws are going. So I know the industry is going to pick up. There's going to be a lot of work, a lot of cash side job, a lot of farm work, it doesn't matter about your social platform or anything else, a lot of free weed. I'm probably going to deal a lot of drugs. Probably make a lot of drugs and ship them around and move them around. Medicine drugs, not like heroin and meth and shit. Oh, it's things that are more packaged and meant for alternative to big pharma. I really believe in that because it's helped me. I just, it's whatever. The science has never settled on anything ever. Even the laws of physics, it's not settled. They change. They do. But I don't know. A lot's next. I've been very quiet and very slow for the last few years. I've been since 2013 was kind of my last hurrah. Really. Things are about to get very loud again, though. They're going to get very quiet and then get very loud. I'm going to try to live my life as me for the first time, not limited by anyone or anything. I've got my own very strict set of morals and values and beliefs and philosophies, and I will live by them. But I will not live by anything else. I don't care about banks and credit and laws and licenses and any of that shit, unless it just makes something a little easy enough that I don't want to have to go through bullshit. That's the only thing I'll do is I'm going to go see if it's possible to live in this world as who we are born as, not as who the world wants us to be. And that kind of goes to this whole thing, this whole transition, the whole coming out. Just be who you are in 100% every way. Don't worry about where you lived, about the society, about anything else. If you need to move, move. You can go be poor and have a shitty job in a shitty apartment anywhere, can't you? What does it matter? Well, if you have to live in a car for a couple weeks, so what? Really? I mean, why can't people just get up and move? Why can't people just do what they need to do? Act. Do something. Coming out is doing something like when I talked about early on, like make it permanent, make it official. So you can't go back. Act. But with everything. I don't know, man. I don't know what's next. And that's cool. I have hope. You know, I found out I'm not really as suicidal as I thought I was. I just don't have that internal drive to live that other people have. I don't feel that I need to live. I just don't care. If I'm going to live, I'm going to live. I'm not afraid of dying. I'm afraid of being hurt. That shit's annoying, man. Fucking the initial pain sucks, but it's recovery. Like things just hurt for weeks and months for no fucking reason. It's like, why can't the body just tell it to stop? That's what I'm afraid of. Because that shit's annoying and getting infected, and that shit's creepy, and then you get PTSD from shit, so now I'm afraid of saws. You know, it just sucks, but that's what I'm afraid of. I don't care about life, man.
Are we glad that she's afraid of saws? I personally am okay with that.
I'm really good at building shit, which means now I can't build shit, which is sad. But I'll figure something else. But that's what I'm saying is that, like, man, it's freeing to just be who I am. To just be me. And to be okay with saying the things I say and not care how people think of that. Because the only people I care about are people that will judge me on it by my actions. Not the words out of my mouth, not my flare-ups, not my manic episodes. About what I actually do. What the results of my actions are. That's all we can ever judge anybody off of. That's all I ever try to judge anyone else off of. I don't care what kind of person they are. What have they done? Did they do something almost unforgivable? Did they not apologize for it? Then fuck them. I'm done with them. They did something bad. Like rapists. There is no forgiving a rapist. You rape someone. I don't care what drug you were on or whatever else. You rape someone. You are never to be forgiven. Ever. Ever. For any reason. There's no excuse. That's how I feel about things. Like actions. I can forgive a lot of shit. Like I forgave my brother. We've talked about that. He's apologized for the things he did to me and the abuse he's given me. And our world was fucked up. Fucked up parents. Fucked up biological mother. Nobody was on the medication they were supposed to be on. We got caught in the fucking, crossfire of it. Like, I haven't talked to my stepdad for over 16 years until just recently. Come to find out he'll be dead in 3 months. Talked to my dad the other night. Come to find out he'll be dead in 6 months. I'm about to go forward and live my life. Go through this puberty. Go find out who I am without fathers. So losing a couple friends doesn't really fucking matter to me, man. We can't live in the past. We can't be tied down by the past. We have to move forward. And if people can't keep up with you, it just wasn't meant to be.
Could you imagine ever talking to your mom at some point?
No. Just because I could forgive someone doesn't mean I have to fucking talk to them. I can't deal with that. It might be a long time before I can deal with that. She'll probably outlive all of us. Motherfucking crusty old bitch. But, like, you know. It's there's a lot going on.
Have you forgiven your mom?
It wasn't her fault.
I sense a tone of forgiveness towards her that I've never heard out of you. It's always been anger, and
it's not her fault. She was abused. She was whored out. She was basically a sex slave to her mom, for older men, disgusting men. She was beaten, abused, and my dad married that woman to try to save her. And then they started having kids, as all people end up accidentally doing. And then here we are. He didn't know she was as fucked up as she was. They didn't have the medication and the words for it. So she was fucking crazy. She's a product of abuse and trauma. It's not her fault. You know whose fault it is? Society's. We give children to two people just because they popped them out. How many kids do you know? How many people do you personally know that were abused by their parents and their family and were fucked up because their parents and their family? And yet here we go on just the way we always have, that when you pop out a child, it's yours to do with as you please. Or as the government wants to. We still live that way. It's society's fault. It's not Roxanne's fault. She fucked up. She was a horrible parent. She should have never been a mother or reproduced or passed on her genetic code because it's highly flawed. It's not my fault my dad was an idiot and fucking knocked her up and then allowed us to still live. Impossible choices in an impossible world. I'm lucky enough, and I'll count myself as fucking goddamn blessed. God came down here and fucking patted me on the back and said, here, see the world through righteous eyes, through truthful eyes, through just eyes. And I can see. I'll count myself as blessed that I can. Yeah, it makes life a little harder. It makes a little bit more confusion, a little bit more of a struggle. But I'll take it as a blessing that everyone else has to sit blind and keep making mistakes and keep supporting pain and suffering for the youth, for our future. Yeah, it sucks a little bit, but I don't have to be a part of it anymore. I don't have to live a life of sin. I don't have to support the suffering. I don't have to support the murder and the genocide and the anger and the hate and the violence and the dissension. I don't have to be a part of that. It's freeing. Don't have to. I can't stop it. I won't support it. And that's that. I can't. It stresses me out, man. It stresses me out way too fucking much. I can't do anything. It's like beating my head against the wall, you know? I've been yelling from the rooftops. The British are coming. The British are coming. Everyone's like, shut the fuck up, or don't be so mean with your tone. Can you be quiet? Can you just write it down? I don't like your handwriting. My child's dyslexic. Do you have dyslexic font?
I love your impression of my impression of you.
Fuck you, man.
All right, final
Let's wrap
thoughts.
this up. I don't know, man. All right.
Hold on, she's sipping off of her PSL.
It's just ice. It's just water at this point. I mean, I don't know, man. I'm moving out to the desert, and I'm gonna start. I'm go Galt, right? Galt Gulch. Who's John Galt? I am, motherfuckers. I mean, well, I'm not. I'm Hugh Axton. I mean, my Axton. I picked the name Axton for a reason, dumbasses. I want to find
Angry
a place.
at society for not realizing Axton.
No, it's
Typical sociopath.
Right? So typical. Wait, how do you tip it? How's that work? But,
so did you
no,
just?
I want to see all the people. I have this massive list in my head. Hell, it's called my Facebook friend list, or my old Facebook friend list, like of all these people that are hurt and suffering and are in places they shouldn't be, in places they don't fit in places they'll never succeed. And I want to find a way to build a place to give people a chance. I want to give people a helping hand up, but they're going to have to actually help themselves up. And they're going to have to live in a different way, in a different life. They're going to have to give up certain comforts. They're going to have to give up certain ideals and dreams and hopes. They want a shot. I want to give somebody a different chance, a different place, just something. Anyway, 1, 2, 3, 4 people.
So do you have an address for your new cult?
I don't care if it's a cult, man. I'll take it. It ain't a government. It ain't a democracy. It ain't communism. It ain't fucking... No, I want to give people a chance. I don't want them to follow me. I don't want them to do what I say. I want to give them a chance. I wanted a chance, and I'm making my own chance. I want to give other people a chance, because this is fucking hard. I hope people fucking listen to Shout Out this podcast, because I'm fucking awesome.
Please share the podcast. All right, final thoughts.
I love you, man.
I love you too.
Thanks. And this isn't the end. This might be the last time we do it in person for a while.
Sure.
But this doesn't have to be the end. Not at all.
We got the Skype machine hooked up here.
Once I sell my car, I'm buying like a $3,000 laptop, so I'll have a computer.
All right.
And this ain't the end. It's just, I'm not on Facebook. I sometimes it's okay to disconnect from that shit,
This is your only source for all things Miah.
Pretty much. You're the official retailer of Miah, except my Instagram. But I kind of do that because it's product pushing, and I post like pictures of pot and use the hashtag because I eventually went free, like sponsored shit. I like free shit, man. Whatevs. But no, it's been a ride. It's been fun, and I want to say, like, anybody that's still listening, like, thanks to everyone. Thanks for everything over the years and putting up with my shit, and it's been a blast.
Was that a fart or
hiccup?
It was a hiccup. Okay.
Women don't fart. Women don't fart. Moji is not a farter. Okay.
Yeah. This feels like a transitional point. It feels like the end of this particular season, not just of the podcast, but of your life. And it was really scary on the second episode of this. And anybody who listens, and there's about 500 people that listen to an episode, I think would have been really scared. And this is the first time in our relationship where I hear hope coming out of your mouth.
It's cool, isn't it?
Not just for you, but you've talked a little hopeful about society. After I think this podcast, I think we hear why Sociopath was... You're angry at society, and I think you speak for libertarians. And that's the deep anger that we feel as libertarians towards the society. I've dealt with him in my life. How the fuck does this guy get access to his daughter when he's raping her?
Yeah.
And the government isn't going to do anything about it. Why can't we? And I think that you get... I've always understood where you're coming from, even if I don't agree.
Yeah.
Even if I don't agree with, and I'm mostly saying this for the FBI, I don't agree with violence as a solution.
Yeah.
I look at the civil rights era and Martin Luther King, and I see that as the solution. But I also understand the Malcolm X feelings of, we've been oppressed for a long time, and the only way that we're going to get it back is through taking it. But
Martin Luther King was not a pacifist in the start. Make sure if you ever read Martin Luther King, you read about the Deacon's Defense, too.
Mm-hmm.
There was many, many, many armed people at all of his rallies, and were always protecting him in his home. It was armed men and violence that allowed Martin Luther King to get his voice heard.
But I don't want to delve into that.
I know. I didn't want that to go unsaid.
I am personally glad for you that you've reached a new level, that you didn't give up. I'm very proud of you for not giving up. And I'm very proud of you for reaching out for help. And I know how hard that is, not just for you, but for me and a lot of people. Because I, too, will never say, I'm having a really shitty day, help. Except for a couple people that I've carved those people out in my life to say, listen. And I'm glad that you have those people in your life, and I'm glad that you are moving forward and getting to a better place, and I'm really proud of you for not giving up, and I'm proud of you for making the effort. And I'm glad my friend's going to be around a long time and happier.
Oh, yeah.
So
you're going to have to come down to Vegas and party.
I will.
I was actually talking to the girls the other day. I want to see like you and Greg and like I want to see I will host a We Are Libertarians Does Vegas week.
That'd be fun.
When I get established, you can guarantee goddamn bet. And I also want to say like if anybody ever needs to contact me or wants to contact me, my email's always been the same. I never get rid of my emails. Miah.axton@gmail.com. There's even Jeremiah.Hotchkin@gmail.com. I check.
Who?
At least once a week. Yeah, exactly. Some other motherfucker.
I saw a photo on the This Day in History on my Facebook, and it was the 6th anniversary of the day that we met, and there was a photo of Jeremiah and I, and it was like, who the...
yeah. It's especially now that I lost all this. This is the skinniest I've been since they came out.
Yeah, you're tiny. You're
my max was 290.
What's the female version of a twink?
A slut.
All right, we got to wrap up. But
right.
Final thoughts. Miah.axton@gmail.com. MIAH. Obviously, you can spell it by reading the title. And please don't. You may not hear from us for a while, but please don't get rid of us. Please share this episode. And thank you for sharing. I think that I don't think people understand how much courage and how hard it is to do these episodes for both of us. But
we're gonna go both sleep for a couple hours after this. I mean, our days are officially done now.
It's very difficult, and you've been so open over these past 2 seasons, and I think I speak for the audience when I say thank you for sharing.
Thanks for having me.